Good afternoon, warriors. It's Lisa Wolf here, and today is Warrior Wednesday. I'm Warrior Wednesday. I had a transparent moment with my sons today, and I asked them both separate, what does a warrior look like to you, or who represents a warrior to you, or what do you think a warrior is? And my youngest, he didn't really know. He was just like, I don't know. And he probably thought it was a dumb question, but I was just like, I'm just going to ask. And then my oldest, though, when we were doing homeschool, he was really funny. He was just like, when I think of a warrior, I think of Thor. And he was like really serious. And how he said Thor's name, he said it like with authority and confidence and I was just like, what is it about Thor that when I say warrior, or when I asked you was a warrior to you, that he was the first person that came to your mind? He goes, because he's a spirit. He's a spirit. And I was just like, or like he's spiritual. And besides his physique and being built, and he goes, there's just something about him. He's just like, ugh, and I started laughing, and so I was just curious, because to me, like, when I think of a warrior, I think of someone that has experienced trials and tribulations, but they have never doubted themselves, and they have taken the courage and the strength to build themselves up. And it's warfare. Like they battle warfare and overcome things in life in general, or just their character, that they're so strong and just so confident. And they do it not because it has to get done. They do it because what's in their hearts, the purity in their hearts, and what they honor. And 2 Timothy chapter 2, he describes in there's different translations, but the New King James Version, he describes different, like an athlete, a soldier, and a farmer, because that was back in the day. But it could still apply to what I'm talking about today, about a warrior. And then I kind of just like Googled the definition of a warrior, and what I got was very interesting. A person engaged or experienced in warfare. So, like, I was reading 2 Timothy, and I read a different version. 2 Timothy chapter 2, and I read a different version. And the verse that stuck out to me in the Passion, the whole chapter in the Passion, is just, like, absolutely amazing. It'll bring the warrior out in you. And everybody has that capability inside them to overcome with grace and love and mercy. And the Lord equips you. He equips you in the valley and in these hard times. Like, we could just give in, but no. Like, I don't know. Like, personally, me, with being sick and going through these trials with these doctors and trying to get better, I had to dig deep and find and start building my faith. Like, my faith didn't go completely deleted or anything. My faith has always been here, and my faith has saved me. It saved me from dying from COVID, and it has saved me through this recovery process, and it keeps on building up, because I love 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 22 in the Passion Translation. And I'm going to do something different today. I'm going to actually read it to you. I have it written down, so forgive me here while I read. It says, whatever builds your faith and deepens your love must become your holy pursuit. It's a holy pursuit, and it's a challenge. And what it said in there's a definition for a warrior spirit. So, like, you could be a warrior, but you can have that warrior spirit in you. That warrior spirit, like what my son said about Thor. He had that warrior spirit in him. Actually, I think Thor is a spirit, or supposedly a goddess, but whatever. But anyways, it gets to the point that Thor, I mean, I don't know too much about Thor, and I know he has a hammer and all that stuff. But the thing is that it was his character that my son related to a warrior. And it's because whoever is up for a challenge is a warrior. It doesn't matter what the challenge is. But if you're up for the challenge and you allow God to equip you for that war, for that battle, and for that training. All warriors have to go through training. And that's what 2 Timothy 2 verse 22 says in the Passion Translation. That's what that means. Whatever builds up your faith and deepens your love must become your holy pursuit. And that is training in the Spirit with the allowing that guidance. And I love the title in the New King James Version. It said, be strong in grace. Be strong in grace. And like, even just grace alone is a tool to train in. And it takes a lot of training and dying to your flesh to be so graceful. And I looked up the word grace because I was just like, you know what? Everybody talks about grace and like how Jesus he gracefully took the cross. He took that death but he rose again, but he did it for grace for us. And it is, you know what it is? Divine assistance. Divine assistance. So why won't, it's like, so during this process, I've been just like, you know what? Lord, mold me and use me how you want to. And I said, I know I'm going through this pain with being sick, and then the aftermath, the lingering effects. Every day I wake up, I have grace in my heart. There are days, yes, I do admit that I don't want to be trained. And he has taken this initiative to train me. And I swear that these trials that I'm going through are for his greater good and for his glory. And there is most definitely a reason why. And he's building up my faith and grace. His grace. His grace is building me to a warrior status that I can't deny anymore. I can't deny. I can't do the things I used to do or want to do, or even be when I was saved. Yes, like I was doing everything. But this is the point of no return. Like, I can't ever go back to where I was before. Like, I'm done chasing the dragon. I slayed the dragon a while ago, like months ago, and I'm done. Because when we read Shawn Michaels' book, and when Mark and I did for homeschool, he said, I got to a point in my life that I slayed the dragon. I was done chasing the dragon. And his dragon was drugs, just partying and sex and all this stuff. And he was focused on family. And I'm so blessed. That's why I can't take this time in vain. And I just hope you guys just warrior up, do whatever God has set a flame in you to do. Pursue that with holy grace. Like just it's enough playtime. It's time to get down and start training and start having the courage and the strength to pursue God with all your heart and soul. It is worth the fight. The fight of faith is worth every pain, every tear, everything that you think is hurting you now, like losing certain things or being alone with God right now. And I know there's some people that they are fighting loneliness, but you know what? It's part of the training. Like you got to get down there and get deep and heal within you. And your faith is going to heal you. It's just that you have to go through this training. The training and what people say the process, but you're training to be set apart. You're training to be set apart. And I truly believe these days and last year were invitations. COVID was an invitation to God. The enemy might have made it for evil and just destroy humility and just humanity itself. Sorry, I used the wrong words. It's just that I have all these things going through my head, but when it comes out, it just comes out. But the thing is, and it says, and to live in peace, who worship our Lord Jesus with pure hearts. Pure hearts. It takes training and dedication and discipline and obeying the Lord to get these things. And it's not that difficult. You got to just start with the first step and just go with it. Whatever the Lord is telling you, I know there's people out there, the Lord is instructing you specific instructions for training. And you might be doing it, you might not be doing it. But like once you start, you got to finish. And it's just all about, are you up for the challenge? Do you really want to change? There's no perfect person out there. I just hope you get this message and you think about the things that I've said. And it took me a while. But I had to God used COVID to get my attention. And He has it now. And I am training, full-time training in His Word. And His grace is more than enough for me. I hope you guys have a blessed day. And there's a warrior in each one of you. It's up to you if you're up to the challenge.